Thank you, everybody. I think so. This is a, a reflection moment, if I may. I was telling Ahmad, it kind of obviously started with Haaziq, and then we'll have Haaziq talk about it more. But so Haaziq was speaking at Economic Times Global Business Summit, and till that time he was more about speaking at different events, right? And you could see like people appreciating and then going back, but it was not actionable. I don't know how many of you know Ahmad. I met him in Delhi, and then he said, why don't you guys take this to the next level and make it actionable? And so he came out with this entire strategy of Ervis Foundation with Haaziq, and that's when the seed was incepted. Having a lot of sessions with Ahmad in terms of what we want to do, and I'll probably get Ahmad to talk more about his story on how he went about it. And then the thing that we realized was, the success or failure of any good organization is about people. I remember a line from Paulo Coelho, right? He says, if you want something and you're trying to do something good, the entire world joins you to do that, and things start falling in place. I think it's a mixture of two statements. But anyway, so I was fortunate enough to meet Priyanka through her dad. Again, there was this guy who joined our company. He worked in PwC, and I happened to meet him. He was very frustrated. And we got talking, and that was Amit, So Amit joined us. And then Haaziq was had spoken in Jalpaiguri, and one of his co-speaker, a very good well-wisher of ours, Rahul Basak, a very creative guy. So I reached out to Rahul saying, "Hey Rahul, we're starting this foundation and we need somebody to express ourselves visually." And then he introduced us to Tanmoy, right? And so here's Tanmoy. He's been of great help to us. And then Priyanka took over. She's been running it, and she got Rahul on board. And there's one person kind of missing over here. That is Kedar Kulkarni. He helped us with our website.
Well, I'm not like the best with words, but like this foundation was created to bring out a change in the youth, right? We want to we want the next generation to basically be more aware about the plastic waste crisis. So the problem has been plaguing our plaguing humanity since the 1900s. When plastic was first brought out to the public, they said it could go away, but there is no way, right? And so yeah, I'm just really excited that it's been 1 year, and I'm also fortunate to be surrounded with so many amazing people. So congratulations all of us.
I think each of us has seen these different phases of this 1 year journey. So I would like to start with Ahmad sir, just sharing with us the initial planning that went into deciding the what is going to be the roadmap for Ervis, and how we were to take it forward. So maybe you can start with giving us a little bit of insight.
So I think there wasn't much of a planning. I think it all started from the idea, Haaziq's idea of how to change the world. And whatever he proposed, I think that was a very doable thing, and I totally believed in it. So as and when Sarfaraz reflected the idea back to me, I said, man, this is something that is great and should be taken forward. So before that, I think we helped, or rather we worked with Kazi on a few TED Talks before he came down to Delhi. And Delhi is where we met, Sarfaraz, me, together, had a brief breakfast. And alongside breakfast, I think all the planning happened over there itself, right, on the breakfast itself. So it initiated by Haaziq, I think supported by Kazi, structured by Ahmad Rizvi, actionable by Priyanka, made beautiful by Tanmoy, added more by Amit Mishra. I think it's all together in one that makes it more kind of a thing that can be or should be or would be taken forward. And I think the way you guys are doing it beautifully. What we put initially as a thought was something that is very natural, something that we thought about out of the box, out of the box thinking was already done by Haaziq even before it came to us. So out of the box thinking by Haaziq, and then probably we just put everything together that we had as an experience of what had happened in the past and what can be done over there, just on a few pieces of orange paper that we put together and made into a presentation which looked like can become a reality. I think a lot of it has already become a reality, and few of the things that I already see, a lot of things have already been actioned upon, taken as a task, as an initiative, as conversations, as engagement. All those things are happening, and I'm so happy.
And of course, then Amit, he has played such an important role, be it in terms of registering and aligning with the United Nations, which was, firstly, it sounded like such a big, like, will it even happen? I mean, we're just aiming for something too much beyond our capacity, or I don't know what it was. But Amit made it a reality. And then, of course, not just with UN, but in every program or initiative that we took up, Amit was there behind. So I think next, I think Amit should take the floor and just share what his journey has been with Ervis.
It all started with a concept paper that we wanted to build around circular economy and how we can deal with the plastic problem through circular economy. And then once that paper was out, and then that's when the entire business, the strategy of Ervis Foundation was being laid down by Ervis sir, by Ahmad sir, and that's when I joined in, and then we got to know about the goals of UNSDG and the different programs that were being run by. So yeah, overall it has been a great journey, and the reason I joined this cause is because I truly believed in if we bring a behavioral change in the youth, then that's when the world can change. Because if we talk globally, we have a huge population which is under 30, and if we bring a change in that percentage of the population, then the world will actually change. My journey overall has been great, always surrounded by great people: Priyanka, Ahmad sir, Tanmoy, and of course the leader on the front, Haaziq, who is leading the entire foundation and the cause we are working for. So yeah, it was great, and congratulations everyone for completing one successful year.
And then of course Tanmay. I mean, Tanmay, I think initially I had no idea like about designing or how we should take it forward. There was no visual like a logo in place for Ervis, and the entire visual for Ervis Foundation came from Tanmay. So Tanmay, it's to you now to share with us your journey.
Yeah, thanks Priyanka, and firstly thanks to everyone for making me a part of this journey. When I first heard it from Sarfaraz, I was really very excited because the cause that you guys are chasing is already, it's a very noble and a really very exciting thing, and it really very excited me on the first time. And most part of my journey I worked with Priyanka, and first of all let me just tell you guys, like, Priyanka worked so hard, and like she was in all the fronts, and she was managing the everything. I was like it was very she was very passionate about the whole thing, and she managed everything very well, so kudos to that firstly. And yeah, so the first thing was logos, the brochures, and basically the branding thing. So the logo itself was very interesting, as I still remember I did a lot of iterations, and the whole concept of the hero and the ray of light coming out of the hero, and everyone becoming a part of it. The whole concept was very beautiful. And next we moved on to the websites and all, and then still I kept working with Priyanka, Amit. So yeah, it was a very interesting project to work on. And yeah, again, thank you guys for making a part of it. Really enjoyed all of it.
I think the recent addition to our team is Rahul. He joined us November last year. I happened to connect with him over LinkedIn, and I was just really looking for someone to handle our social media communications. And I just asked him to join us on board. And since November to now, whatever social media communication has been happening, it's been completely with the support of Rahul. So Rahul, you have now been with us around 8 months. So what has your experience been like and your journey with us?
Hi everyone. So first of all, thank you, Priyanka, first to introduce me to the team and everything, and even bringing me on board. So and yeah, so the experience is good. So basically, this is the first time I'm working for any cause which I'm passionate about, and it has changed even me internally, like how I take my plastic intake and how do I consume plastic now. So basically, if I'll say just one thing, so I think my kitchen is now, I recently shifted to Bangalore. So my whole kitchen is now just made with those food plastic boxes, which I used to order from Zomato or Swiggy. So now everything is in my kitchen is filled with that. So I think that's the power of change to work with such organizations. So
And that's
Wow.
universal, Rahul, and very, very well pointed out. Even I want to I even committed to that change in my life, and that started from this particular project itself. I'm so very conscious
yeah,
about the plastic. All the plastic that I have in my life, I like to arrange it in a certain way so that it is used, and again used, not thrown away. So
right.
thanks to the project, and just because of that, that change happened in my life.
Yeah, and it's just the six of us, and if we talk about us personally, we six have already reduced the plastic waste to at least a few thousand kilos maybe in last 1 year by just reusing and avoiding plastic. So that has been
True.
basically something which we added which was a contribution from our side on a personal level.
You've been day in, day out living Ervis. You've seen it incept from a
Yeah.
concept to what it is today. Why don't you talk us through your journey and your experience
Um,
with it?
yeah, so when actually Sarfaraz first approached, I was very nervous because I wanted to work in the social sector and I was working before, but never had I thought that I would get to like be a part of something where I'm leading it or I'm like managing most of it. So I was very nervous, but within the first month itself, it was not about success or failure or the quantifying the things that we were doing. It was just this sort of passion, and I was, like I said, like we all are saying, we were surrounded by such amazing people, from Ahmad sir to Amit, Tanmoy, Rahul eventually, and Sarfaraz has been like my biggest mentor throughout. So that passion itself made me want to make sure that I don't let any one of you down. So that's what kept me going. It's been tough, yes. Some days I've called up Sarfaraz and I told him that I feel like I'm not doing good enough, or this is not happening, or this is not turning out the way I wanted. And I think that's a power of a team when you have each other to support. And so yeah, it's been wonderful. I didn't picture this at all. 1 year back when I started, I didn't picture this far, and it's really, that's why I'm really happy today to just be here and look back and just think what an amazing journey this has been, and I just want this to continue the same way. So yeah, that has been my experience. So yeah, so I had a question, like for Sarfaraz, Haaziq, maybe you had started this with a vision that you had in mind. This is how I would want this foundation or this movement to go forward. Now, when you look back after a year, do you think that vision has been achieved, or are we in the right track to achieving it? And what are some of the things you think could have gone different?
Like the thing that we want to achieve, again, like I said, was to bring a change in how the uses plastic. And even if we like change one person's attitude towards plastic, that's still success, right? Yeah, that's the thing that we really that I really wanted to achieve. So people started using less plastic, while like also prevention is better than cure, right? I think like so far it's been like it's been perfect, right? We brought about the change. So
Ervis was both a cause of a change, and in a certain way, it is an enterprise, right? Like a not for profit enterprise. So the success or failure has to be by what vision you lay out, and how do you go about achieving it. It's kind of easy for time to just pass, and you run around like a headless chicken. So it was very important in the beginning to establish goal, right? As far-fetched as they might sound, like we didn't even know how many children we should teach, and we said, oh, we just put an arbitrary number. We didn't know how to go about approaching schools, or creating an app, or United Nations was this big thing in the television that you see, right? Or making a ship, so there were so many moving parts to it. I think so the most important thing was laying out the vision, which Ahmed so eloquently did, which helped us define the short-term, mid-term, long-term goals, right? But then, like I said earlier, if you believe you're doing something good, everything kind of falls in place, right? And so, starting with Priyanka, you, Amit, and Tanmay, and of late Rahul, so the great thing about our journey was we had multiple goals, and we knew that even if one thing did not turn out, another thing could work, right? So in the beginning, we started with the education initiative, making a curriculum, right? We started with defining the curriculum. How do we go about it? Approaching schools, a lot of refusals, few acceptance. I remember there was this thing which came from Panchkula, and it is in Haryana, and like this girl has to travel all alone, right? They're like, how do you organize logistics? So some of the small things, and then getting this whole thing from United Nations saying, hey, you know what, we recognize your efforts and we want you to be formally part of what we do, which was phenomenal. Right. And then the COVID thing happened, and the next thing you know for a fact is like, hey, the school thing is not going to happen. So what do we do next, right? And then this engagement with UN turned more concrete, and now we are advocating policies and stuff at a global level. We never thought it was possible. It's been a great journey, but obviously a lot more to do. And the most important thing is enjoying the journey, right? If you worry too much about the goal, sometimes you stop enjoying the journey. I think so. What we should be proud of, and when I look back, it's more about the journey than the goals. So we can always keep on redefining, revisiting the goals, and go about achieving them. The problems never end, right? There's always a problem, but it's the journey and the small aspects, the small moments of euphoria after everything that you do. Every time somebody says, their outlook towards plastic has changed. So Haaziq was applying for some schools in US, and one of his counselors saw his talk, and she said, I'll stop using plastic in my home, right? So it's moments like this, or like when Panchkula thing happened, Priyanka, right? When the entire city said we are going to ban single-use plastic from marriage halls, right? So that was a big validation of what we did. So it's the small and big moments which I think so defines our success.
So next, on a lighter note, I just want each of us to share some of our favorite moments, or some fun anecdotes, or some sort of highlights that we have had across this year. So maybe Amit can start.
So one interesting moment that I would like to share is when we got the invitation for the UN Council this year, which was supposed to happen in June, right? So the day I got the news was I was just about to sleep, about 2 a.m. in the night, and I got a call from Sarfaraz saying that, send you an email, did you read it? I said, no, wait, so we have been invited to the UN. Okay, hold on, I'll read the email and call you back. So I read the email, and then I called him back. That was one big achievement, which for me personally, because I was driving everything with the UN front, and getting your cause being endorsed by an organization like the United Nations is big. So yeah, that was one moment, and that entire night was all the flashbacks of defining what they want to do with the UN, and how do we align with most of the SDGs and causes. So yeah, that was one memorable moment that I have for this year.
Yeah, I think our journey with UN is, I think Amit has led it beautifully, and a lot of what we know now and are doing now is because of Amit. So thank you for that, Amit, and I hope we continue to have such amazing engagement. So Tanmay, now do you want to share one of your highlights of your?
My highlight would be when I first saw all the branding works that I've done and you guys portraying in your merchandise, and it was in exhibition. I don't remember the name of the mall.
Yeah,
I guess
I think in Times Square in Dubai.
Times Square. Yeah. I was totally wow. It was kind of like, it was definitely the main highlight of how I saw things rolling out, and the merchandise, to be honest, looks so fascinating. All of them like too good, and yeah, like that moment, I guess it like fell on me. Yeah, I mean, the kind of work I did and the cause that it is being put forward. It was really a very good moment for me. I was really happy for you.
Thank you so much, Tanmay, and I'll move on to Rahul.
I think the one moment was, I think I also have the same thing. So it was around 12 in the night, and Priyanka messaged me that the talk series which we are working at, and it has uh, been showcased on the United Nations website. So I don't remember which organization. It was part. Yeah, same one. So I think that was the special moment.
Yeah. So the ongoing talk series right now, Rahul has had a huge behind the scene role to play, because I generally bounce off a lot of ideas with Rahul because we are always talking every day. And we were discussing something, and somehow Rahul said that let's make some sort of a series, and then it turned around to be a talk series. And I definitely wanted to share with him, and I think that was a very big highlight for us when our talk series went on to be featured on the UNMGCY page. Haaziq, do you want to go next?
Like when we had our first workshop, Like
Yeah.
when we finished it, I was like it was so amazing, like how like children like were actually very enthusiastic about trying to solve the plastic waste crisis, right? And it was just like it was just a wow moment, because it just proved to me that, like, again, that no matter how old you are or how young you are, you can do anything in this world.
First workshop, me, Nilofer, Afif, and Haaziq were there in Mumbai, and we didn't know what we were doing, and there were so many
Yeah.
technical issues, fumbling, and we were making the plan was whatever plan we had made before we went to the workshop was definitely not followed. But it still turned out to be amazing, and I think that improvising on the spot also really helped. So yeah, I think that has definitely been a key point for us.
My favorite moment, I would probably say, so would be three. One was seeing the presentation which Ahmad made. He made this beautiful video with the Hans Zimmer music, and the entire journey. It was magical. I think so, just to come to see it to live. Probably the second would be when I held the business card of Ervis, the, like, logo, and it was beautiful, and how the light comes out, and it was just magical. It kind of encapsulated the ship and the 1-2x amplification. And probably third, see Haaziq speak at the United Nations High Level Political Forum. I remember Amit was sick that day, and then him speaking in front of Mona Jewel. Mona Jewel was the person who was instrumental behind the Oslo Accord, right? Probably one of the most politically defining moment, and you going and speaking in front of people like those, I think so, and making such beautiful statements. I don't know if anybody, all of you had heard the HLPF. It was beautifully written by Priyanka. So yeah, this three I would say. And Priyanka, for you, what would be your favorite moment?
Definitely, I think one of the key highlights was the HLPF, because it came out of the blue, and I don't think we prepped for it. It's not like we tried to aim for it or work towards it. It came to us, which is also a sign, I think, that we've been doing pretty well with our cause. So I think the HLPF, of course, when Haaziq gave the speech, I almost had goosebumps at 12 in the night when we all were sitting and watching. It was a big moment for all of us, but more so also the preparation for 1.5 weeks of, developing the speech, going back and forth with the people at UN, and, is this working out, was such an amazing learning process. Other than that, every workshop has been a highlight. First workshop, of course, because I think we didn't know what we were doing, so that was a highlight. And Panchkula was a big highlight because it happened within a span of few days, where we got the opportunity and I just had to fly out to Panchkula. And usually I deal with kids that are just around, say there are 50 kids in a session or 100. Panchkula was an open school with 400 kids in one go. And I was like, I don't think I can do this. But I actually made an amazing team down at Panchkula, which was beautiful. And then finally, of course, having the municipal corporation put in that rule that every marriage should have to, will get 15% reduction in the money that they pay for the hall if they go sustainable and plastic free. So I think getting that end goal was something that I didn't expect. So yeah, but these three have been the key highlights, but every workshop is a highlight in itself. So yeah.
And magical moment too, I just forgot to mention within the project. First one, meeting Haaziq at Taj while he was there for the Global Economic Summit. And then Guy Kawasaki coming in, taking my pen and giving a signature to Haaziq. So that was number one on a book. So he used my pen. I still have that pen. I think I'll just put it inside a safe. Guy Kawasaki using that. That was a magical moment, number one. Number two was when I met, I think Haaziq, not Haaziq, Sarfaraz, while he was describing it and slowly eating his breakfast. I just pull out a piece of paper and I just drew that particular sketch of one to many, right? The hero, hub, and hygiene thing, and the application part of it. And I think everything was described within the whole framework of that. So that thing came in a flash, I guess, and that flash, I think it fitted very well. And Sarfraz got it in a second, I guess. As soon as I drew that particular part of it, he said, "Yeah, I think this is done." So that was kind of a magical moment, number two, wasn't it?
Wow. Yeah, I think Hero, Hub, and Hygiene has now become the the defining thing for Ervis Foundation. So if I have to talk about Ervis Foundation, it's Hero Hub and Hygiene. So I think it's a beautiful way of putting forth what we do. So the next thing that I want to ask is, looking back, if there is one thing you think we could have done differently, what would that be?
One thing, if I talk about in doing differently, was managing my schedule with Ervis. I mean, I have a full-time job, and then snatching time from that for Ervis. So I could have better organized it in terms of the application. It's almost all the applications that we have submitted is at the last day and the last moment, and that that is something which I could have better managed, and that's something that I would try to go do going forward. That is one thing that I want to change.
Right now, the kind of organization that you are and the kind of output that is coming out of that organization, that's tremendous. People are not everybody is full time, and whatever Haaziq is intended to do or thought about doing it's a huge thing. Bringing a change across in just a household is a huge thing. You're talking about the whole world. The way that you guys are running as fast as you can, I think this is the best way possible. Nothing could have happened anything better than what we already are doing.
I would say two things. One is one of my dream was for all of us to get together at least once, and unfortunately COVID kind of derailed and somehow it slipped my mind. But probably the next first chance that we would probably get, I would love to do a physical get together. Secondly, I think so. I owe a lot to Priyanka. She's always asked me, get me more resources, or she needs help with this and that, and the inability to do that, and just push this 23-year-old phenomenal kid to shoulder everything on her own. Yeah, I could probably have done that differently. What would be for you, Priyanka? What would be one thing that you would do?
I think in line of what you said previously, I think I am. The thing is, every time I'm sitting on something, a new idea will come into my head, and I'll be like, I want to do this, and I'll tell Sarfaraz, I want to do this. So I think I end up putting my hand into too many things, and I feel like maybe I can better refine the way I work sometimes. So I think in line with Amit and Rahul, I also end up doing some things last minute, or I'm rushing through some things. So definitely have a more focus. But like I mentioned right at the beginning, a lot of the way I work now is I credit highly to Sarfaraz, because he's like always mentored and told me, why not do it this way? Why not try and approach it this way? And without actually stopping me or like directly telling me how to do it, he in a way guided me to take my own road. So I think that's been amazing. And I think the team we have now has supported a lot. Yeah, we will definitely build it going forward. I think this COVID has kind of pulled us back a little bit, but I couldn't be more grateful for the team that we have now.
Maybe a little like time management on my part. So like, because there's school, there is and there's studies, and it sometimes like I get caught up, and I wish like there was like more, like I could spend like the whole time that I have on the foundation. So yeah.
But I think then Nilofer will catch hold of us, and she'll be like, don't take away Haaziq's school time. So no. But I think whenever Haaziq gets time, it's always great to have a conversation with him. In fact, the HLPF, I think, gave us a lot of time to spend on developing for the speech. So I think that, and even in every workshop that Haaziq has participated, he's just there completely. And I also want to give credit to Haaziq's brother Afif, who also wholeheartedly participates in every single workshop that he's there. So he's also very driven for the cause. So yeah. So a final question, and maybe Sarfaraz, if he has something he can ask, is what do you think should be the way forward? This is year 2, so what should year 2 look like from each of your perspective, and what should be the way forward for Ervis? So maybe we can start with Ahmad, sir.
I think the way forward, I think the most that I'm looking to is probably definitely the ship. Okay, the ship attracted me in the beginning, and probably we kept it as a moonshot. Always as a moonshot. So I want to really be at the moon at that point in time, and probably I think the journey from here to the moon to the ship, we're going to accomplish a lot on that particular journey. There's a lot many people that we'll talk to, a lot many things, people that we'll partner with, a lot many other people who'll appreciate it and move on. But again, a journey from here to the moon, I guess that's going to define everything. And we should always have that moon shot in our thoughts, always, always and always. And that's what we are identified with, and that's what we should be known for. Everything else remains a journey, and that is the destination.
You know, I'll say something in Hindi. हजारों ख्वाहिश है ऐसी कि हर ख्वाहिश पे दम निकले, बहुत निकले मेरे अरमान लेकिन फिर भी कम निकले. You know, there's so many things that we can achieve with Ervis, right? Like so many things. But like Ahmad said, you know, the Moonshot project. I think so. What I would love to see it is evolve into a movement which people, the youth associates, and you know, us getting everybody of us, and especially Priyanka, you getting a lot more recognition than what you're getting. I know like a lot of time I tell you to come in the forefront and you're always at the back of things, you know, but yeah, it would be great for this thing to turn into a full-fledged movement. And like I think so Ervis, Haaziq said in his speech, you know, see multiple Ervises going out in the oceans and cleaning it. There's one more line I would like to quote, and this is part of initial discussions when, you know, Ahmad contributed a lot in the first speech, so a lot goes to him, was, you know, the what does success of Ervis means to you, right? And this was asked to, like, when Haaziq was talking, I remember to a guy, he was a nuclear scientist, and he says, you know, aren't you too young to make a ship, or what if it fails, right? And then Haaziq said that, you know, maybe the ship will be made, maybe it won't, but, you know, long after this idea exists with him, and nobody can take that away from him, right? And long after people leave the auditorium, if it remains with them and it drives a change in them, that is a success of Ervis to him. So I would like to see that change being imbibed in people, probably.
I think that the actions for this year should be, when it comes to working for a cause like dealing with plastic pollution. So there's nothing white and black, right? It's always the gray, and I think we'll have huge success in terms of our achievements as we make more people aware in terms of what they're doing, and if one person across the world does not use one single-use plastic item in a day, that's when we will make a significant amount of difference to the entire waste accumulation. So I think for the track that we are on in terms of interacting with people at a global level, educating the younger generation within India, and we start off with Dubai. So this year we could maybe target some other organizations across the globe with the foreign partners that we have, like, so that's all I think we should be focusing on this year. And I think with all the right people and the right efforts that we put in, everything will fall in place again the way it did in the last year.
So I think, like just Ahmed said, so he just visualized the ship. So before the ship comes, until the ship is not coming, we think we should just focus on teaching the like general public about how to reduce the plastic weight, or just not use plastic in a way. So I think we can just collaborate with brands where the most plastic has been used, like Pepsi, Coca-Cola, somewhere there in the lines, and then just ask them to just educate the people who are the consumer of those products, and see if we can reach somewhere there for the collaborations.
My views are almost same with what Rahul told just now. Maybe like increasing the reach. Basically, when you reach out to more people, you have more probability of spreading the awareness more and more, which I feel it's never enough, right? Because and more speeches that Haaziq gives, and it would only help the solidify the the cause of the organization. The more and more people come to know about it, and you might meet good businesses, better people, and they are like they may take interest. So it's only about increasing the probability and making your way out there, spreading awareness. Yeah, I think like we guys are already going in the right direction. Just like more power to us, and yeah,
more power to us.
More
Definitely.
push in that direction.
Yeah, definitely. Haaziq?
Yeah, so I think like I also I agree with Rahul. We can like take it forward to many more corporations and businesses. And since like packaging is one of the main causes of plastic that ends up in the oceans, so we need to tackle those too, right? And like the thing that I really want was like the shift to become a reality. I know it's one shot project, but like going forward, like I really want to see multiple Elvises in the oceans and actively cleaning it.
So for me, I think the biggest connection I have is with the children that I work. And every time I interact with every single group of children, the kind of ideas, potential, the passion, it's not something like when I sit with, say, any of my elder relatives and I try to talk about this problem and they have 10 ways to either push it aside or not accept it. Kids are just so open. And when I see that, I'm so hopeful of what can be in the future. And plastic pollution being one thing on a very personal level, I'm honestly worried about our environment. Like, I feel like I may not get to see a lot of years ahead. And when I see younger kids, it's way worse for them, and they have to really, really fight and be sustainable right from a very young age. So if I can help kids and through these workshops, just reach out, and by the end of each workshop, if I hear even 2 kids come and tell me that when I go back home today, I'm going to tell my parents that, listen, we are going to dispose our waste, right? We're not going to use plastic bottles. And it's happened in all the workshops. That is something that I want every kid to start imbibing. And if I can successfully do that in a way, I also measure it with Amit and Sarfaraz's help. Of course, we try and come with a lot of ways of measuring what we do. If we can successfully even measure that, I think that would be a big thing for me. So I want every kid to be able to say that, yes, I'm going to go plastic free. I'm going to help my home and my community go plastic free. So
Yes, so I would like. If I would like to add, basically what you guys like, there are two aspects to like reaching out to the children, which like Priyanka is taking care of. And so basically you guys are building a market. So now when the product is, so when you guys will building the product, you already are taking steps toward it. So the market will already be there to consume the product. So I think we have to keep a right balance of the kind of product we are creating and how much people or the market is there for the product to consume basically. So good market and product fit would be a very nice thing.
I really want to congratulate each one of you present here. It's been really great journey. I must say that, we are really fortunate, especially Haaziq, to have such wonderful people around. And you guys have given tremendous amount of support, and you're the pillars basically. So when I look back, and then when Sarfaraz told me this idea that he's going to uh, Haaziq and him like going to start something like this, it was like, I thought that I don't know if it's going to happen ever. I mean, how long it will it will continue. And because me and Priyanka, we went to schools, and Priyanka, we had seen the mindset of the people, especially the adults. The children are like amazing with their thought process. They are far ahead and much better than what we are, at this age. So yeah, so it was like really wonderful that you guys came up with this idea of foundation. If something is there in the market which replaces the plastic, and we being like parents, and we grew with our children basically. We have learned with them. So initially when we were like so ignorant, so I said, why not? Like, so, I thought that I'll take this responsibility. And then initially there was some hiccups with the Amazon, and, how to do the listing. And then I attended one workshop that was like, that was a very fun moment for me, after so long. I was part of some kind of like learning process. So yeah, then somehow then it happened, and then the products were live on Amazon. And just recently we also completed the FBA by Amazon. That's fulfillment by Amazon. So I have packed all the inventories and sent it to them. So yeah, and then one thing we should work on is like how to do the marketing and how to go ahead with it, because there is a huge competition in the market. uh, uh, the market is really good. Online market is really doing very well because of COVID. So we should really look at that. I think our next step should be that. It's like I think going forward, it's going to be great, and I hope that we grow with time. So
Yeah.
Like looking back in the last year, I think even the next year would be like a really great year. And I think like we're gonna even make a bigger change than last year, hopefully, right? Get to like get to more children and make them better, like a more generational change, so that everyone and then the best thing that can happen is like everyone in the earth is like more aware about all the not just the plastic waste problem, but all this like all the problems that we are facing.
It's been a phenomenal journey. We had so much fun. I look for more such fun-filled, challenging moments in future. We need to keep our eyes and ears open. I guess we cannot be bracketed into an organization which does one or two things. We just need to see where the opportunity lies for us to engage and spread the message and keep on continuing this amazing work that we are doing and add more people and make it into a movement.
I mean, it's amazing to see the kind of vision. I think I, at the age of 14, I don't know what I was doing. I was very clueless and probably only studied all the time for marks. But when I see someone like Haaziq, it's so inspiring that at the age of 14, he already has such far vision. And I hope I can stand up to it and I can do enough to make that vision a reality, because I also honestly feel that this has to be a movement. It's not just about telling 3 people about Ervis, or just it's about saving our environment, and I think it's a huge responsibility. And the younger generation, like me, I consider myself the youth as well. So me, Haaziq, and everyone else, we deserve to live in a world that is safe and clean and healthy. And if I can in any way, and if we can in any way contribute to it, I think it would be the best thing. So I just hope we can continue the momentum that we have right now and take it further, and yeah, make Haaziq's vision a reality.